please welcome back to the stage Senior News Editor at Channel Futures, James Anderson.
Hey gang, it's beautiful to see you here. We're going to have a little 10-minute interview with Margi Shaw, the CEO of Nitel. I'm excited for this. We're going to get into talking about an interesting acquisition, talking about the state of the aggregation market, and is that even what we call it? So without further ado, please welcome CEO of Nitel, Margi Shaw. How are you, Margi? How's the show going?
Great, thank you.
So, wanted to get into defining the terms because I love to use the word aggregator. It kind of rolls off the tongue sometimes. It's hard for me to say aggregator. But a lot of your peers prefer to not use that. They say we're an MSP, which is I respect it. It's cool. How do you think about that? I'm curious your thoughts.
You know, I think we all perceive the word of aggregation as being something that, by definition, isn't very value added. But you'd have to, in order to feel that way, you'd have to discount the importance of having great network connectivity for your clients. And so for a long time, I think we all kind of leaned away from the term. And I was with a partner of mine one time selling a huge corporate account, and she went through a presentation explaining why you should do business with an aggregator instead of going directly to the individual carriers. And I thought, I really like that story, and I'm going to lean in, and I'm going to call myself an aggregator now. So when you think about the network itself and the physical layer of the network, there's a lot of art and a lot of science behind providing a really strong network with continuity. But of course, all of us are all now not only aggregating these physical aspects of the network, but we're aggregating loads of network intelligence to help customers better understand their network and better understand the performance of their applications. And so I'm all in on aggregator.
Yeah, it's interesting. So could you elaborate on that second point, the aggregating the say that the
so and I see this as kind of a theme as aggregators kind of went to network as a service, and now you're seeing a lot of layers around network intelligence centers as opposed to just network operations centers. And when you think about the viewpoint you have as an aggregator, I have all of the physical connections. I can see what's coming up and down the network. And if I put a smart device, or if you have a smart device, I should be able to see how your applications are performing. So now I can build, which we've done with our Nitel IQ platform, I can build a data lake which allows me to extract very intelligent insights to let you know if you've got a security risk, to let you know if you've got performance issues, to let you know if there is an application that maybe isn't performing up to its requirements and is degrading. So that's a view that we have as aggregators that is kind of unique and can play with a managed service provider's network or can stand on its own.
Yeah, you had mentioned in previous conversation this notion of being asset light, and it occurred to me that that's maybe part of this shift from aggregation not being cool, and I'd love to hear what you think about what's the value of being asset light, maybe how investors think about that, and a lot of folks here that may define themselves as asset light.
Yeah. So when you think about aggregators, we weren't very well understood in the investment community for a really long time. So when the investors look at the business, they're used to very heavy fiber-based investments, people who have trenched their own fiber to buildings, and that fiber routes are now really the important asset they're investing in. But there's so much flexibility with an asset light type of approach. And that, as the investors look at it, that's kind of their way of transitioning from this heavy infrastructure play into something far more nimble, comprehensive, with a much broader reach. And so we actually had an investment from a private equity firm in London. And so we were not only translating from fiber to asset light, but also from, the perceptions of how networks run in Europe compared to the US. And they found it extremely interesting to think about the business as asset light, meaning we're running a network the same way that every other company is running a network, but we can reach everywhere, and we don't have to trench fiber to get to our client. And it's been a tremendously, I think, successful segment of the networking space, and we're seeing more and more interest in the asset light space. And so as aggregators, another kind of synonymous term would be kind of an asset light strategy.
Awesome. You've already gotten into this a little bit, but I mean, could you talk a little bit about the state of this market that you're in, and maybe just where you see it going in the next, what's going to happen in the next few years?
Yeah, there are. If you think about where we're headed with network survivability, it's aggregators are in the perfect, or asset light providers are in the perfect position to be able to provide those hardened networks with all the options. So providing options for not only fiber-fed locations, but also providing redundancy via maybe a different type of access or entirely different fiber routes. So on top of that now, with all of the managed networks, with the security and the SD-WAN environments, customers want to single source their network access and a lot of those intelligent layers, which means an asset-light model is very, very attractive to people who live in that intelligent layer to capture the revenue and the mind share and the control of being in charge of the actual physical layer. And then also you have all kinds of folks who have invested in fiber that have a need for diversity and a need for a much more expanded footprint.
Awesome. And this sort of brings us up to the current events, which is kind of like the elephant in the room, Comcast business buying Nitel. And I know, there's only so much, purview you can offer on that, but is there anything you can shed on the why, the how, how is that going? I know that's in process.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there?
So we're only probably a couple weeks away from having our close. Comcast had approached Nitel in early 2024, and we kind of worked through that process during 2024. Right now, we're in our planning process for integration, and when I kind of think about how Comcast is, their strength in the marketplace is really strength around this really broad owner-operated network. They do have aggregation available, but they haven't really grown up in that space, whereas at Nitel we have. So we can provide not only a lot more comprehensive footprint of aggregation, but we also provide that nimbleness of being able to provide and source the network and price points very early in the stage. Sales enablement has always been a strong value that Nitel brought to the partner community. Obviously, our partner relations are really important, but as we've peeled the layer back, or peeled the onion back in the integration activities with Comcast, it's amazing to me all of the ways we can now build a broader solution for customers. So initially I thought of the network. I have this great fiber footprint Comcast has built, layered in with these great reach we have in aggregation, but Comcast is, through their Masergy acquisition, is a gold standard in SD-WAN, which they've now taken through the security suites with Fortinet and some of the other SD-WAN platforms. So it's been, I think, the ability for us to expand the solutions to our clients is really important. The operating capabilities and the ability to operate within the aggregation model is really important. And then drawing forces together on how we actually provide the best, most comprehensive solution in the partner community is really important within the pieces of the planning we're working on.
Yeah, that's awesome. We got 20 seconds. Anything you'd like to say to the partners in the audience, particularly the advisors?
Yeah, I would say, this year I think is going to be a great year for the partner community. More and more clients are looking for your guidance. Pull the sheets back on all your options and look for a lot of the AI, network intelligence type layers to improve the customer experience and provide a layer of management that's beyond what you've been able to achieve in the past in the industry.
Excellent. Thank you for your time today, Margi.
Thank
Really
you.
Enjoyed it. Ladies and gentlemen, Margi Shaw.
Thank you, guys.